Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something I absolutely love talking about, what I call the architecture of emotional healing. We're going to look at how this really profound, quiet kind of love, especially when you pair it with ancient scriptural wisdom, literally acts as a blueprint to heal our deepest emotional wounds. And look, this isn't just about feeling a little better for a day or two. We're talking about a complete structural change from the inside out. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Okay, to really understand what's at stake here, think about this idea. Love can transform a person so deeply that they no longer recognize the version of themselves that once lived in fear, confusion, bitterness, or emptiness. Wow, right? What we are unpacking today isn't some quick, superficial makeover. It's a total internal reconstruction. And the biggest takeaway? Real healing isn't about suddenly waking up perfect. Not at all. It's about learning an entirely new way to live. It's about finally dropping that heavy baggage of fear and bitterness, simply because a new kind of love stepped in and showed you a totally different way to exist.
Which brings us to phase 1, when love enters quietly.
Now, this concept totally flips our usual expectations of how change works. We usually assume transformation has to involve a lot of pressure, right? Like a loud wake-up call or some harsh, forceful correction. But our source material shows us something completely different. Actually, healing love doesn't kick the door down at all. It's way more like a light gently illuminating a dark room. It's quiet. It's just present. And you know what? It's exactly that gentle presence, not intense pressure, that finally makes your spirit feel safe enough to take a deep breath again.
Moving on to phase 2, uncovering the hidden wounds.
So what happens when you finally feel genuinely safe? Well, all that stuff you've hidden deep down starts bubbling to the surface. We're talking about those old wounds, really unhealthy thinking patterns, and man, that terrifying fear of being vulnerable. Or how about the anger you've been carrying around that is so brilliantly disguised as strength? And of course, that deep, isolating pain you were absolutely positive nobody else could ever understand. Look, we all have these survival mechanisms, right? But real, genuine love doesn't just ignore these dark spots. Instead, it touches them gently, communicating without demanding a single thing in return. It just says, hey, you don't have to stay this way forever. It's amazing because this quiet love naturally draws out the fear that's been hiding behind your pride. It spots the sadness you buried under a tough, I've got this exterior. It addresses that simmering anger that's honestly just a mask for deep disappointment, and it reaches right out to the loneliness you've been stubbornly calling independence. Love speaks to these hidden corners without using any words, reaching depths that, honestly, an hour-long conversation just never could. It helps heal those masked wounds simply by sticking around and being consistently present.
And that leads us to phase 3, renewing your mind.
Okay, this is where we hit a massive foundational intersection between emotional growth and scriptural wisdom. Romans 12, verse 2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Think about that for a second. Emotional transformation isn't just catching a fleeting feeling, it's a literal cognitive shift. Healthy love practically applies this verse to your everyday life. It renews your mind by consistently showing you undeniable truths, that you really are safe, that grace absolutely exists, and that you have immense value. It literally rewires your brain away from those exhausting trauma responses. And as this rewiring happens, you move from what we call the lens of pain over to the lens of hope. Let's be real. Under the lens of pain, your mind just constantly expects abandonment. You fundamentally believe you're unworthy. It is a pure 24/7 survival mindset. But as love does its quiet work renewing the mind, you cross over to that lens of hope. You finally stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. You start thinking with actual hope, recognizing your own worth. Basically, your mind begins to see the world as a safe place again. It's a total game changer.
Now for phase 4, a heart of flesh.
I absolutely love this next verse because it perfectly captures the ultimate spiritual and emotional promise of this whole process. It's Ezekiel 36, verse 26. "I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh." Just think about the imagery there. A heart of stone is heavy. It's cold, heavily guarded, totally impenetrable. It's built for surviving a really harsh world. But the incredible promise of transformative love is to swap out that hardened, exhausted existence with something that is fragile, sure, but so beautifully alive. So, what does a heart of flesh actually look like in real life? Well, it's a heart that used to be intensely guarded, but it finally softens. It discovers the capacity to actually forgive. It learns patience. And maybe most importantly, it becomes open to peace again. This right here is exactly what it feels like when transformative love touches a heart of stone. It literally brings it back to life.
But let's be clear, make no mistake, this process isn't just about feeling warm and fuzzy all the time. It is highly structural. We sometimes fall into this trap of thinking love only exists to make us comfortable. But actually, love arrives to grow us, it matures us, it seriously humbles us, it heals us. And it holds up a very honest mirror to show us exactly who we were becoming underneath all that hurt. Think of it as the scaffolding needed to build a better, softer, truer version of ourselves.
Finally, we arrive at phase 5, the power of quiet love. We find a beautiful answer to how this works deeply rooted in an ancient text from Zephaniah 3, verse 17. It says, "He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you with his love." This perfectly anchors the idea that divine, tender love doesn't shout us down. No, it quiets us. It calms that raging internal storm. This powerful scriptural passage reflects the perfect peace of God's love, and it acts as the ultimate model for how a gentle, steady presence can completely awaken a closed-off heart. So, the absolutely crucial point here is that this kind of divine, quiet love translates directly into very real human actions. Deep healing doesn't come from some harsh critic pointing out your flaws. Not at all. It comes from someone who simply stays, someone who genuinely listens, someone who completely understands your silence when you just don't have the words, and who loves you incredibly carefully. That massive transformation, it happens because someone loved you so sincerely that your heart finally, fully believed it was safe enough to soften. And hey, for anyone following along right now who feels like maybe they just aren't healing fast enough, please remember, transformation is rarely instant. It's built gradually, brick by brick, in tiny everyday moments. It's those random conversations that slowly shift your perspective. It's the quiet, unwavering support you get during a brutal, terrible season. It's experiencing grace and forgiveness you really didn't think you deserved. And it's someone steadfastly believing in your growth while you're still desperately trying to believe in it yourself. Then, one day, you look up and you realize the end game has arrived. Your reactions are calmer. Your thoughts are noticeably kinder. Your spirit actually feels so much lighter. And honestly, most remarkably, your heart no longer craves the chaos or the toxic things that once destroyed it. That right there is the exact moment you realize that love didn't just comfort you through a hard time. It entirely transformed your architecture. It rebuilt you. I want to share this strikingly beautiful summary quote from our source text to pull this all together. "It was a love that made the soul dance before the body even moved. A love so gentle it pulled sorrow out by the roots without ever asking for attention. It healed through presence, not pressure." Wow, that perfectly encapsulates everything we've been unpacking today. Sorrow isn't blasted away with a megaphone. It's quietly pulled up by the roots, making space for the spirit to dance and smile without even realizing it's happening. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really mull over. If genuine transformation comes through gentle presence rather than forceful pressure, how is quiet love already building a heart of flesh within you today? Seriously, look for those little quiet moments of light entering the room. Notice where your mind is renewing and your heart is softening. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really hope this helps you recognize the beautiful, quiet healing that is already unfolding in your own life.